Welcome, everybody, to another episode of The Analyst Desk. Dan is so excited, he didn't even know where to look. He's like, do I look at the ground? Oh, no! And, of course, we're joined by Mr. More for Your Money, who I love to tease, but that's okay. And we cannot see him because his genius broke the camera, Mr. Adam/Genius. How's it going, Adam?
I didn't break my camera. My camera broke itself.
I think he just doesn't want to show my Habs jersey in the frame. I just think that might be why. I think that's the secret.
That's also true.
Sounds like we have Adam and Adam.
It's double Adams.
Adam's
Adam.
Yeah,
we're in trouble.
One Hab, one.
We know two Adams?
Yeah,
We do, Dan. You've met him.
You met my friend Adam.
At the
When we both went to Jay's games last year. You met. my
Oh,
friend
I
Adam.
forgot. Yes, sorry about
remember
that.
the J suit?
I
the
know
guy
a
with the
lot of
J-
Adams.
The guy with the J's.
So,
Okay,
Dan,
no, he's not
obviously,
processing it at all.
you know who Adam is, Dan. But let's dive right into the show. And as you can see, I've switched it to our World Cup background here, trying some new backgrounds here in the cast.
Fancy.
So, you know what? Dan and I know about as much as the World Cup as not very many people. How's it going? Wilder, always good to hear from you.
Nice to have you back on.
Nice
Will
to have
Fire.
you with us. And Lane, I'm glad you enjoyed the lo-fi music. But I want to talk some World Cup of football, even though, I still call it soccer. That's just how I roll. But Adam, when you're looking at these at these groups coming up, do you think Canada got a decently favorable group, or do you think they could be in some trouble?
It's a very favorable group. Like Switzerland are a really good side, but I don't think they're as good as like the other teams we could have gone. Like, I think we would have been in more trouble if we got like a Morocco or like an Australia. Like Morocco were finished third, I want to say, the last World Cup. And they're really good. They're like the first African nation to finish that high in like years. And then Qatar's not very good, in my opinion. Qatar's all right, but they're not the best. But I think it will depend on who comes out of the UEFA qualifiers in, what is it? I think it's 2 months. The end of March, I think, is when we learn who else qualifies, but it could be Italy. I think we'd be in more trouble if Italy qualifies in our group because Italy are really good. But yeah, I think it'll just depend.
Well,
It
Lane
could have been a
is
lot
in
worse.
the
Lane.
frustrated column here. Canada
Lane,
got
it could have been a lot worse, buddy. Could have been a lot worse.
Hard
Could've been a lot
disagree.
worse.
Canada screwed.
It could have been a lot worse.
And
like-
hasn't, if memory serves me correctly, Canada in these rankings, they didn't have to play any qualifying games. So I mean, it's not like Canada's in a situation where they're a bad team. So I mean, let's be honest. Look, if we really want to see how Canada stacks up, I'm excited to see them play some top competition and see how they do.
I will say
think-
this. Sorry, man.
Oh, no problem, Mr. Genius. I was just going to say, I think this is very interesting having North America hosting FIFA this year. It's so interesting for Canada as a country because Canada has not been known as a football soccer club. But with so many new generations of Canadians coming to Canada from various countries, we have a lot of younger people who are now in Canada who are really big into soccer and really big into football and is growing the national team. So as this gets bigger and bigger, we don't have the history of clubs like Italy and England and Scotland and all those places, but as is growing a lot the past, I would say 20 years or so, and it's going to keep continuing to grow very big. So very exciting to be a Canadian in the Toronto and I think Vancouver's the other city, right? That's hosting games.
Yeah, it
Toronto
is.
and Vancouver area because you were going to see some future soccer stars for Team Canada here. So very exciting.
I will say this: if Canada had to qualify via their regular qualification route, they would have qualified. But I do think they would have been in bigger trouble because they wouldn't have avoided the 9 best sides in the world. Like they missed out. They didn't have to. They avoided England. They avoided France. They avoided the European champion Spain. They avoided Belgium. They avoided Netherlands. They avoided Germany. They avoided Mexico. Well, Mexico's a host, so Portugal or England. Like they avoided all of like I think the bigger nations. Plus they avoided Norway, which were like the scary side out of like their pot.
Now here's a million dollar
they have the best striker in the world. So
here's a $1 million question, Mr. Adams. I'm just learning to the game of soccer. Do you think there are some favoritisms towards Canada because they're one of the hosting cities?
No.
Okay.
It's just the way they draw the World Cup.
Okay,
like,
interesting.
Based on like because the draw is done based on the host, so all the host cities or just the one host country, whichever how they do it, they get drawn into pot 1 with the 9 best teams in the world.
Okay.
And then the other 3 pots are filled based on your world ranking. So if you suck, you're gonna get a harder team because you're in a lower pot. And then you'll get harder teams. So Canada 4 years ago I think we're in pot 3 or 4, and they got Croatia, Belgium, and I think it was Morocco. It was Morocco 4 years ago.
Pretty good teams they were facing.
And they lost all 3 games, but were competitive in like basically all 3. But it was like that's a group you get screwed in because you got probably the best group in the World Cup.
Right.
So my question is like realistically, do you see Canada in this group being able to be competitive? Like I think that's the $1 million question everyone's wondering when you're looking at this group and you look at the Canadian roster. Can this team be competitive?
Yeah, Qatar's a winnable game. Qatar is probably the best, like worst team you could have gotten. I think at this point, like I think Qatar's a winnable game. Switzerland. So when you think about it, you either have to get top 2 or you have to be the one of the 4 best third place teams in all 12 groups to get in. So you need at least 4 points to at least get out of your group. That's the most. You need a win and you need a draw. And I think they could draw against Switzerland, but like a win against whoever they get out of UEFA would be big. But still, like the other 2 games are both winnable. So as long as you get out of the group, I think anything can happen. But winning the group would be best case scenario, would be like the best. I think that's something they need to aim for because finishing third would just put them in a tough situation.
It's interesting because as Lane's saying here in the comments that he listened to a show for about 3 hours and they said we got almost no shot of winning our games in Toronto.
Well, the game in Toronto it would be against either Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, or Bosnia. We have no idea who we're playing.
Well, yeah, that could be
until I think it's March 31st is when we'll know. We know of the 4 teams we'll face potentially, but we won't know who. Italy, I think, will be the toughest of those games because Italy has a lot of quality. They're put into this bad position because they were put into a tough group. But it's like you got to play who's in front of you at the end of the day, and it's a winnable group, but it will be a hard to win group, if that makes any sense.
But like, do you feel having home field advantage? Like, how big is that in European football? Like, I know in the CFL, for example, having home field advantage is absolutely critical. Like, how important do you think it is for Canada that they're going to have home field, whether they're playing in Toronto or BC?
I think it's big. Having the home supporters there is massive. I will say, though, Lane says it's going to be Italy. If they get Italy, because they'll play Italy in Toronto, that will be basically like mostly Italy because there's a lot of Italians in this region.
Well,
so I think that will be one part where it's like, I think it does help you, but it could also be a disadvantage depending on what, well, I guess it depends on what the team feels heading in, because if you feel like a lot of pressure is on you, then it's harder to perform, but it could be a good thing. It depends on how this team prepares for that situation, I guess.
Now, it's funny. Lane seems to think that the Leafs have a better shot of winning a cup than Italy missing this.
Lane, you say that, but Italy missed the last 2 World Cups and haven't gone out of their group since 2006.
Well, there might be a better chance of GTA 6 dropping before the Leafs win a cup.
But I will say this, Lane, they've missed the last 2 World Cups, buddy.
Now, here's $1 million.
I'm Italian. My mom's sides of the family is Italian, so I will say I want Italy to get in, but they haven't qualified the last 2 attempts they've had, and they've lost to pretty bad teams compared to what Italy is. Like, as a footballing nation, Italy are supposed to be one of the best teams in the world. They were European champions 6 years ago, but they haven't been able to they haven't qualified for a World Cup. So they have to actually figure out their stuff before we even have to worry about playing Italy.
Now, here's the $1 million question.
We have a Leafs get the Stanley Cup this year in the chat today, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Oh, well, that'd be awesome.
That'd be quite
How many
a
years have we
surprise.
been saying that, guys? I haven't said that. I don't.
Now, here's a $1 million
don't
question, and maybe you already answered this question with your comment about playing Italy and Toronto, which I agree is a huge Italy population in the city of Toronto. But with a game that Canada has very slim chances of winning, will that affect ticket sales?
No, because I think a ton of people will buy tickets.
I think so too.
The biggest competition in the world.
And everything, right?
I think people will spend money. I would be more concerned about the ticket prices. If I was worried about people not buying tickets, it would be because of the ticket prices than anything.
Yeah,
well, because the ticket prices, let's be honest, they're not going to be cheap, right?
No,
they're not going to be cheap.
And they shouldn't be. I mean, it's as you said, it's the best best tournament in the world. And interesting here, we got some comments here coming in here. And yeah, maybe you're the only one that's got the balls to say it that the Leafs are going to win the cup. Who knows?
Everybody
we also have
says that on the internet. Every Leaf fan on the internet says that, and they know it's false. They know they're like just blowing smoke under this team, and they're trying to hype us up. I'm a Leafs fan. I would love this team to win a cup, but this team is not playing like a cup-winning team. They didn't last year. They didn't 3 years ago.
They've been doing pretty good recently.
Yeah, they didn't when we played the Habs in 2021, which I like to forget. But we didn't play like a cup-winning team that year either.
But I did sing here with Zach saying though about the Leafs. He does feel they've been proving their point. I will say, I think of late they went 4-6 on that last road trip. They got to be feeling better about the way they're playing. But another friend of the program, me in Toronto, was saying the BMO Field upgrades are lame in their opinion.
Well, they haven't even done like the seats yet, which is the biggest concern. The World Cup's in like a couple months, and you still don't have those seats in.
There's going to be cup holders.
Like, just wait until there's actual games going on at BMO Field. How the hell are they going to finish them then?
I'm kind of surprised this construction has been as delayed as it has been, because when you think about the weather's been pretty good as far as the Canadian winter has been lately. So it's like, how come?
That's the saddest part.
Hey, you know what? Good personal friend of the program, Alex Parr, saying the best part of being a Leaf fan is that next year is always our year. Absolutely, Alex. I couldn't agree with you more.
Depends on how you feel.
Never friend of the program.
Oh, of course. But no, I think it's going to be.
I don't want to jinx it.
It's going to be interesting to see how Canada does here. I think that expectations for Canada, considering the last major tournament they were in, they performed pretty well. I think expectations are decently high. I don't think Canadians, and Adam, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Canadians will be satisfied with Canada going here and just being competitive. I think they're expecting them to at least win a game.
So I will say this. I think expectations are higher than they were 4 years ago. But I do think, given the group, Canada should get out of this group, given that there's more teams and there's more opportunity. Like, you can't, like, given how this team played, they tied France 0-0 in France. Mm-hmm. They twice pushed Argentina to their limits at the Copa America last summer. Like, the expectation is going to be high based on how this team played in other tournaments, and you got to, like, it's fair enough that the expectations are high, but I think getting out of this group, you kind of have to at this point, given the group and given the fact that where this team is. Like, I do definitely feel like the expectation should be high.
And you got to just look at not just the game itself, but everything, like the business of the game, outside the game. Got to look at how much hype in the city of Toronto there is for Canada, and how much they're like, we see soccer jerseys all over the malls and stuff, and the scarves and stuff like that. People buying the soccer things of Christmas over loved ones, and like they upgrade the BMO Field into exhibition grounds just for this whole event. This is great for the city of Toronto. I'm sure Vancouver's in the same situation too, but it's a lot of hype. So I really hope they win a game for all this hype behind it.
I hope they do well, considering I'm losing multiple Argo games over this. So,
that too. Yeah, that's a whole other
but hearing from me in Toronto saying, hearing tickets are going to be expensive. At least for the Croatia is coming to Toronto on the 23rd, but getting tickets for that will be impossible. I mean, it's going to be through the resale market more than likely.
I would have rather that England come, to be honest.
Not going to be cheap.
I would have rather England come.
And make sure you
have a really good team. I would have rather England come, to be honest, but
make sure you check out the Me in Toronto social media group. They got great YouTube channels, great Instagram, and give you all kinds of tidbits of how to get some great entertainment for a great deal within the GTA. So definitely check them out.
I will say this: if you want to talk about countries being screwed over with their draw, whoever gets out of playoff 2, so that's Bolivia, Suriname, and Iraq, they got to play against France, Senegal, and Norway. Cool. So I don't think they'll have an enjoyable time at the World Cup if any of those nations qualify. Wow. So that would be fun times.
That'll be a little crazy.
Yeah, I think all things considered, I think Canada's in a decent group where I think they at least have a shot. Like, I'm not saying it's a guarantee. Obviously, I don't think there's any guarantee. But I mean, they're saying like I think Canada has a shot. But when looking a quick look up on tickets, they're saying group stage for host nation tickets in the resale market could go as high as currently $2,700 US
per ticket.
That's what they are predicting. Yes.
Oh my gosh,
that's what they're predicting when I'm looking up different price ranges through like StubHub, SeatGeek, and good old ChatGPT.
Those are ridiculous prices.
I could buy a car for that.
And very true. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure me in Toronto being Croatians, got to be excited to potentially be able to see Croatia. I hope you're able to get some tickets. And yeah, Croatia versus England game 1 will be a great start. Absolutely. And I will say, I think with these games being in Toronto and Vancouver, the great thing is both of these communities are so multicultural that people are going to be able to actually see their home countries, which has got to be exciting for people, right? Like, it's not like it's 100%. Going to, I'm going to pull something that Adam hates me saying. It's not like it's in Sault Ste. Marie that is not a very multicultural city, right? So it's going to places where, like, I think you're going to be able to have a good variety of fans being able to go and enjoy seeing their team compete, which that's got to be exciting, getting a chance to see their country, because being in Canada, we're such a multicultural nation, which is awesome, especially in Vancouver and Toronto.
I guess me in Toronto might be selling some kidneys in order to get a couple of tickets to that.
Yeah, that's crazy. I asked somebody if I could borrow their kidney. They said I couldn't have it. So
it's worth an axe, right? I mean, $20.
Well, Dan, you always say $20 is $20.
Yeah, I'm down.
Dan, can I have yours?
Yeah, $20. Let's go.
Nice.
But I think we should switch gears to what's going on tonight, because we have the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Montreal
fancy background
Canadiens.
Ooh, fancy.
And
Original 6.
Yes, Dan does have a PS5 in the background, Mr.
I do. Racing some Gran Turismo. Like I said, I've been dropping a little automotive hints throughout the episodes, and we're coming up to our 1-year anniversary. So we'll be dropping some automotive news soon. So stay tuned for that.
Absolutely. But let's start to break down this Leaf game tonight. You got Toronto, who you know what, on the road trip, I would say did what they needed to do. Won 4 of their last 6. They did it with a really strong team game from goaltending from Joseph Woll and Hildeby when he came in. But now you got Joseph Woll injured. And I think Joseph Woll's got to be the biggest concern with no Joe Woll, right? It's that I understand people are happy with the way Hildeby's playing, but I also think Leaf Nation needs to hold on the expectations a bit. This is a very young goaltender. Mm-hmm. With very little experience, and this Montreal team, this offense can fly.
So who would be the backup for this game?
Adam, how do you pronounce his name? Help me out here, bud.
He's Russian. I cannot say it. Do you know?
So he got called up.
Yes.
The Marlies goalie.
Oh, the Marlies goalie.
Artur.
Yeah, the Marlies
I'm
goalie.
Russian and I should know this, but unfortunately, I'm.
He does not.
I don't know. I'm way too.
Let me see if I can find it. It's like Artur
Artenidov.
Something like
That's
that.
something like that. We have a prediction in the comments already saying Leafs 1, Habs 3.
To be fair, that is like nearly the score was last game, and that game was bad.
Well, it was almost 4-0.
Yeah, that game was bad.
I think the key for Toronto is going to be the only thing I've noticed with Hildeby or Hildebeest. Sometimes his rebound control is not always the best, so I think the key for Toronto is to make sure they box out in front of the net and really try to keep things clear, so they're actually giving him a chance to just make the saves. And I think Toronto can't have a collapse early, because this is going to be his first start against the Habs, which they know, let's be honest, it's a completely different atmosphere when you're playing Montreal than when you're playing Carolina.
Oh,
right?
100%.
So, I mean, like I said, Hildeby overall has played very well. I've been
Act
very
him off,
happy
I think
with
it's how you
him.
say
Act
it.
him off.
Act him off. Something like
Act him
that.
off. Okay.
He's young. He's
But
massive too.
He
Him and
is. I
Hildeby
mean,
are both
Toronto's got some
massive.
depth in goaltending, but
He's
they're
looked
all
good in
younger
Marley
guys.
so far this year. I don't know his stats on top of my head, but I really think with Hildeby and Artemov, I think they got a future tandem here. What I'm kind of curious about is I'll be at the Mari game tomorrow, and I'm curious what goal will be starting for the Maris tomorrow of all these goaltending.
Pesca.
That's another issue we don't really talk about all the time on the show, but it's something I'm thinking about too. With all these injuries and all the AHL players getting called up, well, now there's ever opportunities.
Dan, Adam has answered you, and you just totally ignored him.
He's ignoring me. It's Pesca.
What is it, Adam?
It's Pesca. It's the other Swedish goalie we have. We have like 2 Swedish goalies.
Well,
Pesca, I think is his name, if I'm not mistaken.
It's interesting. We have the comments saying he might be an upcoming star goalie.
Yeah,
and also Wilder's also predicting the Leafs to get this one done. Look,
Yeah,
this is going to be a tough game. I just think this might be a game where we've seen the top 6 look a little better of late, with Domi starting to play well, Matthews getting his shot back. But I actually think the Nylander-Tavares line has been quiet. That line's really got to get going. And I think this has got to be a game where maybe it's your elite 4, we'll call it, or the big 3, or whatever you want to. If I say core 4, Craig Berube is going to find where I live and punch me in the weenus. So I think it's going to be really up to. I think this might be a game where we need Matthews, Nylander, and Tavares and Nyes to kind of take this game over, because Montreal, look, they're a young team with a lot of speed. But let's be honest, their goaltending has been super suspect. So I actually think everyone's projecting kind of a low score.
I think
kind
it's
of
a high scoring game.
burner.
High scoring.
I think we could see like a 6-5, 6-7
starting
kind of game.
It's gonna be.
Well, Florida just beat Columbus 6-7 in overtime.
Off a really good game.
Jacob, did you hear that?
No.
No, sorry, Adam. Can you repeat yourself there?
It's Dobish. It's their
No, it's
other
Dobish.
goalie. It's their backup goalie.
But the thing is, though, neither
young guy.
Dobis or Montembeau have really, in my opinion, have really taken the reins on who's a starting goalie.
Montembeau hasn't been playing that well, though.
No, he is not.
That's what I mean. So I don't really feel they really have a true A1. Like, I think it's kind of they're waiting in Montreal. I think you're waiting for one of those guys to take over. Where Toronto, I think they got the answer, and then Woll tweaked his lower body.
Dobish hasn't been the most consistent, but last game against Winnipeg, he was great. I think he stopped like 30 shots. He ended up stopping all 3 shots in the shootout. But I think the key for the Leafs, in my opinion, is going to be how defensively good will they be? Because the problem with the last game for the Leafs, they just kind of stood around defensively and let the Habs just whip the puck around and do what they want. And if you do that with the Habs, like, you're never going to beat that team. So if they can lock them down defensively, then I think they've got a pretty good shot. But if they just kind of stand around and kind of act like pylons like they did last game, then that's not going to bode well for Hildeby, because Hildeby can't stop them on his own.
I will also say the penalty kill will be key tonight. Montreal's been hot on the power play.
On the road too, especially the last few games on their road power play has been lethal.
I saw something like it's like 30% right now.
30% over their last 7 games.
Wow.
Ridiculous.
Montreal power
play
play
right
has
now.
been crazy. Interesting here,
really-
though. We're already
Not
being
must
called a
win.
must win in the comments, and
It's not a must win.
I think
We're
it's
not
too
in-
early to say must win, but
we're
I
not in
do
must win.
agree.
I
with
disagree. I think
another
it is a
comment
must
here.
win.
And hold on, Dan, and then we'll get into that. But I do think Montreal is going to see the real Leafs tonight. Like, I don't think it's going to be as terrible because the last game, even though Toronto kind of hung around, they played bad the last game against Montreal. But I think this team has drastically improved since then. I think that the emergence of this third line is something that Montreal didn't have to deal with last time.
Yeah.
I just really do think they got to try to keep the net calm for Hildeby to start. I don't want to see 5 breakaways in one period like the poor guy faced against Carolina that was one of his starts this year. And the reason why I'm not saying it's a must win yet is because it's too early in the year, and it's not like the Leafs are 10, 15 points out of a playoff spot. They're like 4. Like, I don't think everyone's hitting the panic button. It's not time to hit the panic button yet whatsoever, but I do want to see them continue to build off the way they've been playing. Because they can play well and still lose to Montreal, right? Like, Montreal's a good team. But, Dan, why are you saying it's a must-win?
Well, I'm not hitting the panic button. I am definitely raising eyebrows. And, like, you know what? We kept saying at the beginning of the year, exactly. We said at the beginning of the season, oh, it's only October. It always sucks in October. And we're like, oh, it's November. You know, maybe November's the new October, blah, blah, blah. We're in December now. We're almost at Christmas break. We are over a quarter of the way done the season, roughly about a third of the way done.
That is true.
We're sitting here about a third of the way done through the year. The games are just going to get more and more competitive as the year goes on. And we're not in a playoff spot yet.
They're 2 points behind Montreal for a playoff spot.
That's why I think this is a must win. Because now it's not just the fact that you're 2 points behind. It's the fact you're chasing Montreal in the standings, too. So it's like it's a four-point game.
Well, obviously, it is like a 4-point game, but, like, you got to look at Toronto in their last 10. They've improved over 500 points in 7 of their last 10 games. They now have a positive goal differential for the first time since actually pretty much all year. Like, this team is starting to play well. So that's
all very cute, but
you're only 4 points behind the Islanders for a wild card spot, and only 2 points behind Montreal to get into the division area, and you are only 5 points behind Tampa for first in the division. Yes, it's a big 4-point game. It is important. I totally get what you're saying, Dan and Wilder saying in the comments. Like, I totally agree, but I also feel at the same time it's like we're hitting the panic button. Like, the New Jersey Devils were at one point the best team in the East, and now they're not making the playoffs. Detroit was leading the division 2 weeks ago, and now they're not making the playoffs right now. It's just too damn early in the year, and unlike the West, besides of Washington, surprisingly, no team is really starting to kind of run away with like a bit of a lead.
Tampa's running away.
Toronto is 5 points behind Tampa. I would not call that running away.
But Tampa's also
they're starting to pull.
Like
they're starting to pull away a little bit. Like, it's not like they're.
But then they lost 2 straight, right?
They do have another
2 straight. Toronto wins 3 straight. Next thing you know, it's right back there, right? Yeah. So it's too early in the year to be calling must wins.
I do have a question though. What is the real Leafs though? Because we haven't seen. I will say we haven't seen a consistent. They've been playing consistently well, but last game we saw in the last game against the Hurricanes. Hildeby comes in and they start giving away breakaways. They start just going back to what they were like a couple weeks ago when they're giving up too many fast breaks. Hildeby stood on his head to keep us in that game. I will say that because Carolina could have come back, could have stolen that game because they were giving away so many breakaways. What is the true Leafs? Because we haven't seen consistency all the way through the lineup. The third line's played great the last couple of games, but there's been no consistency. I refuse to say that they're going to see the real Leafs tonight because what is the real Leafs? We haven't seen anything. It will be. It's a telling game because what happened a couple weeks ago was just so bad that it's like it can't get any worse than what that game was. But what is the real Leafs? Like, what is their defining play? It's been a good team defense the last couple weeks, but they got to come out tonight and they got to play still like the same way they've been playing. If they don't come out like that, then we haven't seen the true Leafs because they still can't do it against the Habs and they still can't do it in a big game. We play Tampa on Sunday. Like they need to play well tonight because that Tampa game is going to be Monday. We play Tampa Monday. That Tampa game on Monday is going to be even bigger if we lose this game. Like you can't lose
when I see the comments here and
or
from
play
Wilder about the team's got to play like every game's a big one all season, but I do think the four lines is what this team identity wants to be. I think that's why you have Nick Robertson on a fourth line to try to add some scoring. You have that third line that's trying to be an identity line. Now you just need the top six, and you need Matthews, Nyes, and Domi, and then Nylander, Tavares, and Cowan. You need consistency. This year we've seen one of those lines good in a game. We haven't really seen a game where both of those lines are clicking. And look, I think it's more on guys like Tavares and Matthews, who are the leadership group. Like, so I'm seeing some people saying, well, Cowan needs to be a bit better. Look, at the end of the day, Cowan's a rookie. He's going to follow
Cowan's
the
been
leadership
great.
of other guys. So, and I'm seeing people, sure, do I wish Nylander back-checked more? Sure. I'm sure Washington fans also wished Ovechkin back-checked more. It's not going to happen. So just accept it, unfortunately. But you want to see guys like Tavares and Matthews lead by example. And I think if you can do that and get four lines rolling, I think that's what this team is. You got rid of Marner and cleared cap space to turn this into a four-line team. So now you got to play like a four-line team. That is the absolute, in my opinion, the way this is built. Everyone goes on build to beat Florida. Florida is a four-line team. Toronto is trying to be a four-line team. The top six needs to be more consistent. I would like to see a game today where the Tavares line and the Matthews line both look good, while the third line continues to contribute, and the fourth line can at least do enough that it doesn't feel like every time you put them out, it's like, oh, brother, this guy stinks, and we're watching SpongeBob.
Lawton scored twice in the last two games, so the fourth line's clicking at least. Like, it's good to see. I would like to see that Tavares line play better tonight, because the Matthews line has been that line the last two games where they played great. They were rewarded the other night. They weren't the game before that. I don't remember the last game before the last game, but like the Carolina game, they played great. They played great the game before. Like the Tavares, I don't know what's going on with the Tavares line, but like last game we were down. We like lost a player and we didn't play the fourth line for a lot of the third period against Carolina. Right. Like it's about, are they going to actually put out all four lines consistently tonight? Because if that's going to be the team's identity, then all four lines need to play like more consistently, because like you could see the fourth line's impact in the first and second period. It disappeared in the third because they weren't playing. But like if that's going to be the identity, you need to 100%. Play them.
And I think it's interesting here, Wilder. I agree with you. I think Matty Nyes could be a big player to watch out for. He's really using that power forward style of play. The fourth line for Toronto has looked good of late. I agree with Adam and Wilder on that. I think the Leafs, I really do feel this team the identity needs to be a four-line identity. Like when you lost Marner, you retooled to be a four-line team. That can't be now the fourth line playing 7 minutes. Like that's just not the way this team's built now. So we need consistency from all four lines. Go ahead, Dan.
I do have a gas to ask.
Oh, it's everyone's favorite game show.
Dan always has one eventually.
Dan loves looking at the donkey butt. Gas, or is it ass?
Gas to ass. Matthew Knives' goal against Carolina so far was the goal of the year.
Oh, that was disgusting. I will say though, I think there's been better goals. Ryan Leonard had Ryan Leonard's goal was disgusting a couple days ago. I don't remember
that was a sick goal
it was against, but that was a good goal as well.
And like Bedard seems to be on the highlight reel every week.
Bedard against, oh my gosh, I think it was against Vegas. His like third period goal where he toe dragged and sniped it. Disgusting.
I can't believe people were criticizing Bedard last year, being like, "Oh, this guy's not good enough." I'm like, dude, he's 19 years old. Like, give the kid time. Like,
yeah,
I was one of those people. I really was. So I got one on that.
Wow, Dan. Yeah, be better,
sorry, Mr. Bedard.
Be better. Be better.
They know this is true from Wilder about John Tavares. He does seem to play better at home.
JT of the six, as I like to call him.
Yeah, Wilder's saying a power goal by Matthew Nyes. Absolutely, that goal was incredible, and that when Matthew Nyes plays like that, he can be the best player on the ice. He just needs to do it more consistently.
It's been taken 10 years almost, but we finally got a player better than Zach Hyman.
Yeah, I would agree, actually. I think
10
Matthew
years?
Nyes has definitely replaced the Zach Hyman role.
I think Zach Hyman, right now, maybe you can argue Hyman's a bit better than Matty Knives, but I don't think Hyman's at his ceiling. And I
You
think
can argue that
he's getting better and better and better.
You could argue Hyman has had a better season.
Right.
I don't
But,
think you can argue that either,
season-
no.
But even that
Well, he's
season,
been injured most of the year, hasn't he?
he scored 40. Like, that's what I mean. Like, one
Oh, in
singular-
previous
not
years,
this
yeah.
season, but, like,
But now he's on
Hyman has
pace
had
for
a
80
single
points.
better season.
We have a question, and this definitely sounds like for an Adam question. Did Ukraine make the cut for the World Cup?
I gotta look and see because I have I don't think they did. I could be
I don't
wrong,
think
but
they
I don't
did
think they
either,
qualified.
I don't remember seeing
They
that.
I
didn't
can
give it
look
to
and
him,
see.
eh?
I don't think they did qualify because they were. Oh my god, I don't even. Well, they would have been qualifying in Europe, and that was really hard. I can see, but they might be actually still having to qualify though. But I don't think they have.
I don't see
Me and Toronto
They
is saying
haven't.
no.
They're
I think
They have
they-
to qualify via the playoffs still. They got to beat Sweden, Poland, and Albania to get to
Playoffs?
the World Cup. Yeah, it's the playoffs.
So
Yeah.
Ukraine has a tough road.
Yep, they got Sweden, despite having two really good strikers, they lost every single game. They're only in there because of, oh my gosh, what was it? The UEFA Nations League, which is another competition. That's the only reason they're in the playoffs. Poland have probably the best striker, probably the top 5 striker in the world. And then Albania is just, I don't know anything about Albania. So I can't add anything there, but it is I don't think Ukraine's going to qualify from that. I'm sorry. I don't think they will.
Yeah,
I think they're good, but I don't think they'll qualify from all those other
It
teams.
sounds like Ukraine's got a tough road, but there's something
No.
interesting here, and I want to point this out for back to the playoff race in the NHL. And I find this interesting. So when you look at all the playoff teams in the East,
Yeah.
Montreal and Boston are currently the only 2 teams in the playoffs with a negative goal differential.
Correct.
What, in the East?
In the East, they're the only 2 current teams that are in a playoff spot with a negative goal differential.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Montreal has a -5 goal differential. Boston has a -3. Every other team, like Tampa, +19. Carolina, +15.
the other night. So
That's a good point.
against Colorado, and Colorado's nuts.
Colorado are the best team in hockey.
Oh, yeah, they look incredible.
Yeah, actually, Colorado, there's a team that is really running away with things in.
Well,
the
that's what I
playoffs.
was going to say. So far this year, we're really seeing the separation between East versus West. The West is a much
The West
better.
looks so much better than the East.
Oh, wait.
Colorado? Wait, guys, do you want to talk about how Colorado's running away? They have scored 112 goals. Guess how many goals they've given up? Jacob, don't look. You got to give me a guess and don't look at what their stats are, but give me a
112
look.
goals scored. How many do you think they've given up?
Yeah, how many have they given up?
I'm going to say 50.
49.
So you
Wow.
guys are both on less. It's 64.
Wow.
They've given up 64. And look at their goaltending. The names they have at goaltender are really not that
The Woods.
good. Yeah, like Mackenzie. Is it Blackwood?
Blackwood and Wedgwood.
Blackwood are playing great, and Wedgwood's playing as good as he did last year.
Like
but
Wedgwood,
Blackwood-
he's on Team Canada shortlist now.
Is it Mackenzie
Yeah.
Blackwood also Canadian?
I
Yeah,
think
they're
he's
both
probably-
on Canada shortlist for goaltenders right now.
We actually saw
It'd be crazy if
play
either of
very
them go.
close.
That'd be crazy if
We
either
get
of
the
them
Woods
go.
on Team Canada.
Yeah, that would be crazy if they did.
Oh,
Oh,
would be
half
crazy.
Ukrainian. That's cool.
Yeah, well,
Oh.
sorry, Key, about Ukraine, but hey, you know what? They got to play the games. Anything can happen. Timothy did.
Well,
go
you
to
never
school
know.
today.
That's
I
what-
could be
And
wrong.
we have a question for Adam in the chat. Adam, do you follow?
I don't want to
any
say what
European
team I
clubs?
cheer for because they suck right now. I don't know if I want to say it. I cheer for Manchester United, who kind of suck at the moment.
Wait,
It's really sad. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, you just did.
well,
just
Arsenal.
Hello,
I'd rather
Mr.
not.
David. Always good to see you in the chat.
Yeah, David.
Since we're about to we got the game in about 8 minutes, but I do want to mention this because I think one thing that I want you guys to really watch out for, at least for the Habs, The Texier, Kapanen, and Demidov line, the last game, St. Louis decides they're going to play him for 19 minutes. And that line, when they gave him the minutes, I mean, they've looked really good all year, but giving them the minutes, I thought, especially Demidov and Kapanen looked really good. So if that line shows up as well, that's going to be pretty problematic for the Leafs because they look like Kapanen and Demidov have really been shining stars for the Habs this year for being like rookies.
Well, I mean, Demidov, you can't believe Montreal got him what, 4th round?
I still can't believe they got him at
this
number
kid's
5.
a superstar. He's a superstar.
Demidov is crazy. I will say this though, because I do feel like this is a really funny game because both fan bases like to. I don't think everybody. Oh, that sucks being Toronto. Being an Arsenal supporter is kind of tough at the moment. You guys lost
and Wilder's
today.
a Germany fan,
feel
so
really
hopefully
bad
Germany does
for him,
well for you.
I will say this though, both fan bases, a lot of the fans, not everybody, are kind of delusional. But I do remember this summer, my buddy Adam here, I don't think did it. But Demidov, I know a lot of people were saying Demidov was going to be better than, I think it was Macklin Celebrini.
Yeah, that's
even, which is crazy to me given how well Macklin Celebrini played last year. Then on top of that, a lot of Sharks fans then overrated Macklin Celebrini being better than Connor Bedard. And then everybody started saying Connor Bedard sucks.
Just appreciate the fact that we have these two great young talents in the league. Like both of them are freaking amazing. I don't see why we have to constantly get into this like debate about which one's better. I mean, I have my opinion on that. But like, just appreciate that we have like this might be the new Crosby Ovechkin type of deal.
I agree.
Next decade.
I will say this: if we're going to talk about well, we didn't talk about it, but I will say an underrated player that nobody is going to talk about right now, Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like him too.
So I will say I don't think it helped that he wasn't. I don't think he was as great in college as I think a lot of people expected him to be. And he really wasn't in those conversations, especially that Macklin Celebrini is, since they joined college in the same. I think it was the same year.
I feel like he's overshadowed by Macklin too.
Yeah,
though.
Will Smith is
100%.
disgusting. He scored a hat trick like a couple. I think it was last week. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh!
Will Smith's just under a point per game at 27 points
in hockey or just
29 games. Celebrini
Sports,
currently
like
14
baseball,
goals.
Baseball's Will Smith.
Multiple Will Smith.
Okay, that's crazy.
No,
We were just talking about Will Smith's in sports.
but I
That's
mean,
a few of
which
them
is
out there in LA Dodgers too.
you got to be,
That's
if you're
true.
a San Jose Sharks fan, you got to be starting to get excited. Celebrini with 40 points, 14 goals, 26 assists, and he's a +3. Will Smith, 12 goals, 15 assists, 27 points. Your two best players are these two young studs. And in Chicago, Connor Bedard's already got 39 points in 27 games. And
He's got
a
40,
+9.
Jacob. Don't lie. He's got 40. I'm looking on
According to the
Sportsnet.
Chicago
It says he
Blackhawks
has. Oh, wait,
website,
never
he's got
mind.
39.
Jacob, I'm wrong. Sorry. I misread. I
Yeah.
saw 40,
Yeah,
and I thought it
correct.
said 40 beside his name. I'm sorry, Jacob.
It's
I
okay.
will also say, let's also talk about Leo Carlson.
Yeah.
As well, he has 36 points.
I
He has
didn't even
been
realize he was that high.
Crazy.
Anaheim has been so good this year, and I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
and I will say this, I think it kind of proves the fact that Trevor Zegras was a cancer. Because
Yeah,
this is
unfortunately.
otherworldly without Trevor
He's been playing
Zegras.
pretty well with Philly though.
He has, but I feel like
But Philly's
being
not
in
doing that
Philly-
well in the standings.
I was just gonna say, they haven't really got any better.
Philly, I think being in Philly and then being like in Philly with like a more experienced team is completely different than being in Anaheim with a team that's like young. A lot of this, like a lot of people were around the same age as Zegras. I don't think it helped. Like I would say his ego is pretty big, and he's never really been. He hasn't been that guy that he was like 3-4 years ago. And it's like it could, but Leo Carlson has been that guy this year. He's going to be a big part of Sweden at the Olympics, and I am very excited for that guy
But
because he is.
I will say
really,
too, I think, talking to some Montreal Canadiens fans here, I think you're similar to San Jose, except you're a bit further ahead. You got to be excited too. You look at your top players, it's Suzuki, Caulfield, Hudson, and Demidov as kind of like the four that you're really that are leading you in points. These are all young players, right? And 3 out of those 4 guys got term. Like Sapkowski, I think, has been a little bit of a disappointment. Not that he's terrible, but I want to see him step up more. But I mean,
Well, it was a first overall pick.
you look at your top 5 in points, which is Noah Dobson, Damjanoff, Hudson, Caulfield, and Suzuki. 4 of those 5 guys you got locked up long term, and Demidov's only on, I believe, year 2 of his rookie deal.
Wide.
So you still have at least another 2 years of Demidov. Like Montreal, you're starting to get to that window, and I think this is another measuring stick game for both Toronto and Montreal, just to see where these two clubs are at.
Well,
These are
don't
two
forget
teams that I think Montreal was where Toronto was about 6 years ago. Now, let's see if Montreal can not do what Toronto did and stay in the same kind of window for 6 years, right? Like they got all this young talent. I think Montreal's just got to get a stronger. Funny enough, I think what most teams need, they just got to go get a stronger goalie that I think can give them consistent minutes. And you know, it just be good enough. I don't think they need a Sergei Bobrovsky level goalie, but I think they need someone that can consistently make saves.
Yeah,
but like, look, I think Montreal, they're starting to get into that window, and it's got to be exciting when you start to go down the list of all their top players. They're all young.
Pretty amazing.
They are very good, but I do want to point out the fact that Suzuki and Caulfield have a combined 25 power play points so far this year.
That's crazy.
And that is utterly ridiculous on a team that was not expected to be this good.
No.
And those two are so good, and I hate that they're so good because they play for Montreal. And yeah.
Well, the thing too, and I think because you mentioned Slavkovsky, I think the one thing that people don't necessarily are evaluating him by that's saying he needs to step up is point production. He hasn't necessarily been that amazing. But the thing with him, and I've always said this, he does so many things that are so invaluable to a team that just don't show up on a stat sheet.
Fair.
Like if he's, for example, zone entries, he's elite at that. Beating guys along the boards, he's great at that. And especially the last few games, they moved him off the Suzuki Caulfield line, put him down with Demidov. And ever since they did that, he seemed to find his stride. And he always seems to show up in the second half. Usually that seems to be his thing. But I think we're starting to see him come into that form a little bit earlier than we have in the past few years. So if he continues this role, I think you're looking at, if he gets to 60 points, I think you've got a pretty successful season out of him. But I think eventually, if he just keeps playing the way he is, with time, once he gets to like 23, 24 years old, the points are gonna come for him. But I think he does need to shore up on some things for sure. But he's also, again, really young team, and they all need some. They have some work to do in a lot of assets on their team. But they do have a very good base and a great core to work with. They just got to add a couple more pieces. Like I think they need to get a couple more enforcers. They need size, and then like you said, a goalie would be good, but then you have Jacob Fowler coming up in the system as well.
Right.
Disgusting.
Now, Wilder, to answer your question here, 3 out of the 4 of us on the show today, because there are 2 Adams, it's Adam squared. 3 out of the 4 of us are Leaf fans. And Adam 2.0, we'll call him today.
That's better than Adam.
Fan of the group here.
I am a Maple Leaf fan, as you can see.
You can't see me, but I am wearing an Austin Matthews jersey. So,
I'm
but
wearing
before we wrap up, because we're getting close to puck drop, I want to get some predictions here. Get chat. Feel free to jump in on some predictions. I'm going to start us off and say a 5-4 Toronto overtime barn burner. That's my prediction. 5-4 and OT. Who's going to go next?
I'll go. I'm gonna go faithful here, and I'm gonna say 6-4 Habs. The 6th goal being an empty netter.
6-4 empty net. We have me and Toronto predicting a 3-1 Montreal win. First,
I am predicting my Toronto Maple Leafs with the 6-4. I'm going the opposite. I'm going 6-4, okay. But a Leafs win with an Austin Matthews hat trick because Austin Matthews is awesome. And he scored a hat trick against Montreal a couple of years ago, I will say. So, he can do it.
Wilder's projecting 4-1 Maple Leafs.
Nice.
So the floor is yours. What's your final prediction here?
I'm going to say something crazy. I think you got Hildebeest and Dobis, who are 2 young rookie goaltenders. I think you got guys like Montreal with Suzuki and Toronto with Matthews are really heating up and starting it quick. I think we're going to see a barn burner, and I think Toronto's going to win 7-6, 6-7, same as the Florida Columbus game.
Dan, you have like no faith in either goalie, and you've been really talking up Dennis Hildeby. You have no faith.
Dennis Hildeby has played amazing this year. I give him a lot of respect, but this is the first time he's played in the Battle of Montreal, Toronto, in Toronto, I believe, and I think the person Hockey Night Canada Saturday night prime time. The person could get.
No, Adam does make a good point. He came in that third period against Montreal. Didn't face a lot of shots.
I get that, but he didn't start the game. I'm talking start the game, standing crease during the anthem. You know,
it was already done.
Yeah.
But I would say after that, of those predictions, and let's see who's right tonight, we are going to sign off for the night so we can watch the game. Thank you very much to both Adam and Adam for joining us at the analyst desk today. I hope you brought a comfy chair. We were on for over 50 minutes. And of course, it is I, the self-proclaimed sports analyst, joined by the one, the only.
Post game?
Dan loves to interrupt my throws.
Let's do it post game.
Do you want us on? Do you want me on the post game?
You know, Adam and Adam, or one Adam, or whoever. Absolutely. Come on back and join us for the post-game show.
Yeah.
He's down to do the
post-game show. Now I can finish my damn throw because Dan totally interrupted me as usual.
Blow it to you.
I'm the self-proclaimed sports analyst who understands you don't interrupt the host when they're wrapping up. And of course, joined by the man who has zero manners, but we love him anyways, Mr. More for Your Money. I'm going to hit him with one of these days. We'll be back for the post-game show. We'll see you in a bit, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you probably around 10:30. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you in a bit.
Bye.
Adam and Adam are waving. You just can't see them.
Bye-bye.